Hello everyone and welcome back. In this lesson I'm going to show you the Tabulate Area tool. It's sort of a combination of some other tools we've used before that gives us cross-tabulated areas between two feature or raster data sets. What we're looking at here is a layer of California counties in the black outlines and then national forest lands in the green here. And the question we're trying to answer is how much area of each specific national forest is within each specific county. We can spatial join forests to counties in order to answer the question of which forests are on which counties, but getting the individual areas broken out is a little harder. So let's take a look at the Tabulate Area tool, which helps us break this out further. It is located in the Spatial Analyst toolbox, which is specifically targeted at rasters, and that's why this works on both raster and feature data. So if I open up the Tabulate Area tool in the zonal toolset, I can select my feature zone data just like with zonal statistics as table, but in this case it's going to operate a little differently. So let's do our zone data as counties. And I'm going to select the GeoID for the county as the zone field. And then I'll select my forest boundary as my class data. And I'll select the forest name as the class field. And then let's set a processing cell size. It's setting a default here, but then let's set it to 250 meters. And give it a name of county forest areas. And now, what did I just do? Well, just like with zonal statistics, we have our zone data, the data that we want to aggregate data to. And we need an ID field so that we can make a join with it. And then I have a class raster or feature class. And within that class data set, I select my class field when I have a feature class data. And what that means is that for every unique attribute in that class field, it's going to append an attribute to my zonal table here and tabulate the area for each attribute in that class field versus each attribute in my California counties layer here, or each record in my California counties layer. This will make a little more sense when we see it, so let's just run it here. And just as the last note, the reason I select a processing cell size, even though I'm working with two feature classes, is it's going to rasterize my data, and it wants to know what level it should rasterize my data to. That is, it's going to convert both feature classes to raster and run this analysis as raster. So that's a caveat you should be aware of because that affects the accuracy of our data, right? So just know that that's what's going on. 250 is a little coarse for this. Normally I'd probably run it at a much finer resolution, but I'm running it at 250 so that it runs quickly enough for this demo. So let's click OK. And it finished relatively quickly, and I get that county forest areas table I just named. And if I open it up and take a look, we get the GeoID, that attribute that I selected as the ID field, and then I get a field for every record in the forest boundary table. So let's take a look at that really quickly. In the forest name field, I have Sierra, Trinity, Los Padres, and just like that on the county forests table, I have Sierra, Trinity, Los Padres, and on to the rest of the forests here. So I get an attribute for each record that has a unique ID in the class table, and it gives me the IDs in the source table as well, so I can cross-tabulate the areas in between those. So reading this, the value is for the record with GeoID of 06019, it has this much area overlapping with Sierra National Forest. So this will make a little more sense once we join it in. So let's make a join between California counties in that table. I'll select GeoID and then county forest area, and then it is the GeoID field on the county forest areas table that we want to join to. So let's validate the join. It's letting me know that not everything matched. And the most likely reason for that is that not every county in California has a national forest. So I'm going to accept that for now, but we don't want to pay attention to make sure that that makes sense. Close and OK, run the join. And now if I open the California counties table, I can see Alameda County has no national forests on it. But Alpine County here, if we zoom to the selected features here. Alpine County does have national forests on it, and it has 2 national forests, not just one. It has 2 separate national forests, and we can figure out which ones and how much area of those national forests overlap here. So it's not any of these so far, but it looks like it overlaps with Stanislaus National Forest and El Dorado National Forest. And it overlaps more with Stanislaus National Forest, which we could confirm here that this is the bigger one. So I'll switch it from the topmost layer to the forest boundary layer and click identify. And yeah, that's Stanislaus and that's El Dorado. And the overlapping areas are listed in the attribute table. And it does this for each specific county. And for counties that have just one national forest on them, then it will have just one value in the attribute table like it does down here. Well, what does this get us ultimately? Once we do this, we could maybe do a percentage of each county that is each particular national forest, not just a percent that's total national forest, but a percent that's each national forest, and use that for land management decisions or something like that. This works for all different types of data, so you can put your own data through here and use it for different use cases. And I encourage you to think about different ways that this can apply to your own work. But a lot of times what I'll end up doing is adding fields after I use Tabulate Area and making new calculated values based upon the tabulated areas as well as the original shape areas. So, okay, that's it for this lecture. In this lecture, I showed you how to use the Tabulate Area tool to get cross-tabulated areas between 2 separate sets of features. This isn't a tool I use all the time, but every once in a while I have that aha moment that I don't need to use a bunch of different spatial join techniques. I can use the Tabulate Area tool to get exactly what I want, and it's a nice tool to have in your back pocket. See you next time.